I've a home prepared where the saints abide, over in the glory land. And I long to be by my Savior's side, over in the glory land. Just
over in the glory land.
I'll join.
Yes, join the happy angel band, over in the glory land.
Just
over in the glory land. Yes, with the mighty host I'll stand, over in the glory land.
I am on my way to those mansions fair, over in the glory land, there to sing God's praise and His glory share, over in the glory land. Just
over in the glory land.
I'll join.
Yes, join the happy angel band, over in the glory land.
Just
over in the glory land. Yes, with the mighty host I'll stand, over in the glory land. Over in the glory land. Yes, join the happy angel band, over in the glory land.
Just
over in the glory land. Yes, with the mighty host I'll stand, over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land.
Amen. Well, thank y'all so much. We appreciate that, and thank you for allowing us to come and be with you this morning. We've been looking forward to being here. It's a welcome, nice change for us to get a chance to sing for folks that talk like we do for a change. We did about 150 dates last year. A lot of them are way up north in New England area and places, and they find folks up there, and they like our music. They don't understand a word we say the whole time we're there. But we're not going to have that problem this morning. We can already tell. We're going to just pick and sing and brag on Jesus. That's why we're here. And we're going to sing a lot of the old songs, some songs that probably a lot of you grew up singing. And if you hear the one, you know the words, and you want to jump in, sing with us, we'd be happy to have you jump right in. In fact, you can start on this one right here. We'll get Brother Tim to start us off on the Old Rugged Cross.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. Well, I love that old cross, for the dearest and best in a world of lost sinners was slain. I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophy at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true. It's shame and reproach that we bear. Then He will call me someday to my home far away, where His glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross rest I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Thank y'all so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to get to be here with you this morning. We hope we do something that you enjoy. We hope we do something that you get a true blessing out of. We're going to do you, as Daryl said, some songs, some old songs and some new ones. The one we're going to do right now is a song it's an old song. It's one you're probably not going to know. It's one that my brother wrote probably 25 or 26 years ago, and I want to tell you the story how this song came to be. My brother was at a flea market one morning. It was a cold, rainy day. Wasn't a lot of people there, so my brother gets to talking to the vendor that's sitting right beside him. And the vendor is a gentleman in his late 70s. My brother asked him, he said, "What do you do with your time?" He said, "Well, I'm retired, but I come here to the flea market and I sell things." My brother said, "Well, where do you live at?" And he said, "You see that mountain? I live right on the top of it by myself." My brother said, "Well, don't you get lonely up there by yourself?" He said, "No, there's 4 of us." He said, "I thought you said you live by yourself." He said, "I do, but I got the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and me." So my brother went back to his table. He wrote this song. He called it, "There's Just the 4 of Us." In a little town not too far from here, when I met an older gentleman who lived all alone for years. When I asked him if it's lonely living by himself that way, his words taught me a lesson. This is what he had to say: "There's just the 4 of us. I'm not alone, you see. There's just the 4 of us. I've got company. It may seem to you that I'm all alone, but there's 3 walking with me to my heavenly home. Well, there's the Father, there's the Son, the Holy Ghost, and me." Little lady who lived in a big house alone. Her family never came around or ever even called her on the phone. One day the neighbors got together, knocked on the lady's door. They didn't find her by herself, they sure found a whole lot more. There's just the 4 of us. I'm not alone, you see. There's just the 4 of us. I've got company. It may seem to you that I'm all alone, but there's 3 walking with me to my heavenly home. Well, there's the Father, there's the Son, the Holy Ghost, and me. It may seem to you that I'm all alone, but there's 3 walking with me to my heavenly home. Well, there's the Father, there's the Son, the Holy Ghost, and me. Well, there's the Father, there's the Son, the Holy Ghost, and me. Amen. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, just about everywhere we go, especially if we're someplace we have never been before, we get the same two questions over and over. And so I've kind of gotten used to answering the questions early in the program so folks will know. The number one question we get is, where'd the name Farmhands come from? Are y'all really farm boys? And we kind of are. We was, raised up on a little small farm, all of us. But the name of the group actually came from the scripture that says the harvest is plenteous. It's the laborers that are few. Pray, therefore, he'll bring forth laborers unto the harvest. So we figured that the Lord was looking for farm hands, so we threw in. And that's where that came from. The second question we always get, and I understand why this is a little unusual. If you have any concert pretty much you've ever been to, somewhere in the area, the artist or the group or whoever's there will have CDs and that sort of thing, and we've got all those. But if you came through the foyer back there, the question you'd be wondering is, how come on your table you have fried pies? And I realize that is a little unusual, and let me explain why that is. The little church that I grew up in West Tennessee, man, you could put that whole church and a portion of the parking lot inside this room right here. Well, all but the bathrooms. Bathrooms were 40 yards that way. But it was a great place to grow up, and I have wonderful memories growing up there. And we had lots of great services, but my favorite church service all year long was always on the third Sunday in April. We would have our all-day dinner on the ground, singing in the afternoon homecoming service. There was nothing else like it all year. We'd have usually one of our retired pastors, former preachers, would come in and preach the message that morning, and then we'd go outside. We didn't have a fellowship hall, so we'd have outside on folded tables and the tailgates of trucks, just the most ridiculous spread of hillbilly cooking folks have ever seen. And all the ladies would bring their signature dishes. You know, my Aunt Gertie always brought her a homegrown green beans with that secret ingredient that we all knew was bacon grease. Well, it was good, though. And my grandmama, she still goes there. My grandmama's 91 years old, still goes there. She'll always make her homemade chocolate pie with a crust made out of lard. Y'all remember lard? Got our folks here this morning. I'm glad y'all sitting down. You know, there are grown people, adults in America that, have jobs, own houses, vote, don't know what lard is. We have met these people. We made a comment about, and they didn't know. They couldn't even have a visual. They couldn't even know what we was talking about. Kevin finally told them it's like Crisco on steroids. That's about as close as he could get to it. And pretty close. Well, about a year and a half ago now, we met this wonderful Christian couple in West Tennessee, Bert and Dalen Patterson. And they owned this little company called Armstrong Pies, which had been in business since 1946. And they just kind of took to loving us and supporting us, and we just think the world of them. So one weekend we was going way up north, and just kind of on a whim, we loaded up a bunch of their pies and took them with us because we had read the label. See, it's the same recipe since 1946. So right there, right next to fruit and everything, guess what's got in it? Lard, it's right there on the label. You can't deny it. So now we run into those people that, just don't understand things the way we do. We just, pour them towards the pies. And we've had the best time with that. You hadn't lived. You've seen the look on somebody's face, tasted lard for the first time. It just, I tell you what, it just brings you right back. I loved those big dinners growing up, but my favorite part of our homecoming services was after the eating was over, we'd all gather back in the church house because we'd have local gospel groups that would come in and set up their microphones and just sing all afternoon, sing those old quartet songs. And I was just a little bitty guy sitting right down front. Boy, I knew from an early age, that's what I want to do. I want to sing these old songs. So this is an old one, goes back a long ways, gives Benny back here a chance to sing a little bass, an old quartet song called A Beautiful Life.
By helping those who are in need. My life on earth is but a span. And so I'll do the best I can.
Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done. Where there will be no setting sun. guide each day.
My light must shine,
My light must shine
along the way.
along the way.
I'll sing His praise,
I'll sing His praise
while the angels roll,
while the angels roll,
and try to
help some troubled soul. Life's evening sun,
Life's evening sun
is sinking low,
is sinking low.
A few more days,
A few more days,
I must go,
and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done. Where there will be no setting sun. Life's evening sun
is sinking low,
is sinking low.
A few more days,
A few more days,
I must go,
and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done. Where there will be no setting sun, to meet the deeds that I have done. Where there will be no setting sun.
Let me real quickly introduce you to the fellow here who's playing the dobro guitar. Tim and I have been friends a long time, played a lot of music together. We shared about 10 years together playing on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville and have had a great time doing that. He's won all kinds of awards. He is a Grammy Award winner from an album a few years ago called The Great Dobro Sessions. He is also a Grammy Award loser. I'd like to point that out. Full disclosure, And back last month in Nashville at the Bluegrass Music Awards, he was named for the 8th time and the 5th straight year Bluegrass Music's Dobro Player of the Year, which is pretty cool. And we're going to get him to sing right now. Mr. Tim Graves on the dobro.
Why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve even one of the pleasures I've known? Tell me, Lord, what did I ever do that was worth loving you for the kindness you've shown? Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I've needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Try me, Lord, if you think there's a way I could ever repay all I've taken from you. Maybe, Lord, I can show someone else what I've been through myself on my way back to you. Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I've needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hand. Jesus, my soul's in your hand.
The gentleman on the banjo is one of these fellas that can, he's just been blessed in so many ways that you bound to like one of them. In addition to playing the banjo, he can also play bass or dobro or guitar or mandolin. Just hand him something and he can play it. On top of that, he is a fabulous songwriter. He has had songs recorded by folks like the Oak Ridge Boys and Gene Watson and Jeannie Seeley and
Kim Graves.
Oh, that's right.
2 of them.
I bet you made, $6, $7 out of that, didn't you?
I wish.
He's just one of the sweetest fellas and so much fun to travel with, great sense of humor. He's originally from East Tennessee, lives just outside of Nashville. Picking the banjo today is Mr. Benny Bowling right here.
Thank you, Darryl. Thank you very much, and thank you for having us here this morning. I have already truly been blessed. It's a wonderful morning and great people. You've got a wonderful church here, and thank you for having us. Makes you feel at home, and that's a good feeling when you're out on the road. As Darryl said, I'm originally from East Tennessee. I've told your pastor that. He made a couple of little snide remarks and jokes. But Tim also from East Tennessee, and we put a band together back in 1982 to work the Knoxville World's Fair. Became like the official bluegrass band for the fair, that 6 months of the fair, and it was a wonderful time. We played music around the clock, it seemed like, 6, 7, 8 days a week sometimes. But after the fair, unfortunately, we did have to disband. During that period, there were some health issues that arose that kept us, it prevented us from going on at that time.
What was the problem?
We were starving to death. And actually, that's the last time I played banjo in the band with Tim. And he called last year for me to play banjo again. That's the first thing I thought of was that starving thing, And he said, well, don't worry about it. This time we keep pies with us on the road. So thanks again for having us. Let's get me some help. I'm going to play a song.
The gentleman here playing the guitar for us, he sings the high part in the trios and the quartets. He's originally from West Virginia. And I'll tell you, when we was looking for somebody, he was exactly what the Lord knew, just exactly what we needed. We needed somebody who was just a wonderful Christian guy, which he is, a wonderful Christian husband and father. He's a Grammy-nominated songwriter, excellent musician, picks like a man, sings like a woman, and that's exactly what we needed. And I tell you what, he's just so much fun. You're going to have fun with this one. Would you make him welcome Mr. Kevin Williamson on the guitar?
Thank you, Darryl. We have, the guys in the band, we've known each other for a long time. I haven't been with the band, but this is almost my 1-year anniversary. But it seems that we kind of lost track of each other about, 15 years ago. Turns out that these guys during that time have been off playing at the Grand Ole Opry. And I've been playing at preschools. That's right, preschools, libraries, churches, upward award, just anything that's got kids, that's where I've been hanging out. So I'm just wondering, would it be okay if we did a song for the kids today? Yeah? Do you have any kids? If you're a kid, raise your hand. If you're under the age of 113, I should be seeing your hand right now. Okay. All right. Now, this is a little Bible story that I made up into a song. If you think this song is too wild and crazy, you look it up in the book of Genesis, because this is pretty much how it went. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and... Well, after the days of Noah's Ark, people got to thinking they were really smart, decided to build a tower to the sky. They said, we'll show old God that we are pretty much just as smart as he. So they made some bricks and stacked them way up high. Then God came down to see their tower. He walked around maybe half an hour and said, we'll just see who's the smartest one. So he messed up all the words in their heads. One didn't know what the other one said. He hid and watched as the first one moved his tongue. And he said, Smidliak, ah, Nicky, ah, noo, icky, icky, and then his buddy said, still, I don't know what you mean. So he hollered, ooby, looby, looby, ah, ooh, ah, licka, lacka, loo. To which his friend said, dude, what is up with you? I'm not sure if that was King James or NIV, but anyway. So the men had to stop with all of their work, and the tower turned to a big pile of dirt and never even reached up to the sky. Since they couldn't understand the words from their mouths, one moved north and the other moved south, but on the way out they stopped to say goodbye. And they said, Sniffledorf, locka-knocka-ning, ah, looka-knocka-ning. And then his buddy said, still don't know what you mean. So he hollered, ooby looby looby ah ooh ah licka lacka loo. To which his friend said, dude, what is up with you? And now I've been watching you guys back there. I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, man, I sure would like to sing along with that song. I'm going to give you your chance right here, but I'm not going to make it easy on you. I'll speed it up a little bit and y'all sing along. Here we go. And they said, Smilliak, Aniki, Anu, Iki, Iki. And his buddy said, flip-a-lap-a-ling. So he hollered, ooby-looby-looby-ah, ooh-ah, licka-lacka-loo. To which his friend said, dude. I got it. At least you got that part right. Smidliak-a-noo. I'm going to introduce you to the bass player, if I might. This guy is, well, he's a great songwriter. He's a great singer. But more importantly, he's our MC. If you've ever seen a bluegrass band, usually they're good pickers. They're good singers. The problem comes in right after the song's over, because at that point someone will say something really profound like this. They'll say, hey, y'all did. That song is a good one. This song is a good one too. Kick it on! Daryl's our tour guide. He makes everybody feel comfortable, just kind of like we came over to your house and we're hanging out at the living room. I wish you'd make him welcome today. His name is Daryl Mosley, right there.
You know, these guys have a distinct advantage over me with bluegrass because they were raised up playing it. I was not. I did not discover bluegrass till I was grown, thanks to my 4'11", 90-pound mama. She only allowed me to be exposed to one kind of music, and that was old style, bona fide, hair sprayed, tiny mustache, 4 grown men dressed just alike Southern gospel quartet singing.
Can I get a witness?
Yes, sir. So I was raised up in a house blasting the sounds of the Statesmen and the Blackwood Brothers and the Cathedrals and the Florida Boys. And we have fans here, I can see by the nod. Well, I grew up loving it too. And she wanted me to be a gospel singer so bad she couldn't stand it. Basically, Mom wanted me to grow up and be Jake Hess, pretty much. That's what she wanted. And
Better hair.
Well, yeah. But I discovered bluegrass as I got grown, and I wanted to sing it and wanted to write it and got really involved in it. But started trying to write bluegrass songs, and I was writing classic bluegrass songs like "The Scenery Never Changes When You Plow Behind the Mule."
Yeah, boy.
And
that's a beautiful song.
very touching, I know. Well, the guys I was singing with at the time didn't like it because I had to admit I'd never done any mule plowing. We did have a tractor, you know, and they said, man, the whole essence of bluegrass is people have got to know that what you're singing about is coming right out of your heart. Well, once I knew that, I went right back to the quartet songs because that's where my heart was and that's where my roots were. So a lot of the songs I've written over the years have pretty much just been gospel quartet songs that we've kind of bluegrassed. And this is one I wrote a number of years ago. It's one of my mama's favorite songs I ever wrote. Tim actually said he likes the song and he wants to sing it this morning, so it's a little unusual, but we're going to get him to sing it. I hope you enjoy it. This is called Jesus Blazed the Trail.
Sometimes the road of life I'm on takes an unexpected turn. I wind up in a valley full of heartaches and concern. But I never fear the valleys, for my Savior I have found. When I walk the jungles of despair, Jesus walks familiar ground. 'Cause he's been there in the prison, he's been there in the flame, in the lion's den with Daniel, there was Noah in the rain, and in the wilderness with Moses in the belly of a whale. Oh, no matter where the path may lead, Jesus blazed the trail.
You know, as a songwriter, I don't mean to interrupt, but as a songwriter, there's really no greater compliment than having somebody else sing one of your songs. And man, I appreciate Tim singing it this morning. And no offense, brother, but that's not really what I had in mind.
Wrong words?
No, your words are good. You don't know anything at all about Southern gospel music, do you?
No.
You ever heard of, let me think, Hovey Lister?
Nope.
Glenn Payne?
No.
Vestal Goodman?
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah.
All right, we're getting somewhere. Sing the second verse, but sing it, I don't know, bigger.
Bigger?
Oh, not bigger. All right, let me sing a verse. I'll sing the second verse, and you come back in on the chorus. Just do what I do.
Okay.
It's not hard.
Okay.
Gotta sing it right. You ready?
Sometimes I must remind myself as I stand at trouble's door, there is no step that I can take where Jesus hasn't been before. And He's always right beside me. He's my shelter, He's my guide, and I know I will never walk alone till I reach the other side. 'Cause He's been there in the prison, He's been there in the flame,
In the lion's den with Daniel, there was Noah in the rain, and in the wilderness with Moses in the belly of a whale. Oh, no matter where the path may lead, Jesus blazed the trail.
Oh, no matter where the path may lead,
Jesus blazed the trail, blaze a trail.
That's bigger. Woo. Well, that's fun to do. We'll sing another song here and then turn it back over to you, Pastor. But, you know, like I said, I grew up singing Southern Gospel, and I didn't really expect the world of Southern Gospel to cross our path in such a dynamic way as it did a few years ago when we were coming back from a singing one night, and a song started coming on. And I write a lot driving, and this was but one of those nights when a song just came just amazingly fast. And got back to Nashville, went in the recording studio, did a little demo of the song, you know, and I didn't think much about it until about 3 weeks later when that little demo that we had made of the song I had written that night ended up in the hands of Bill Gaither's record company. And they called me and said, man, we got this group that's really needing a special song, and they've heard this one of yours. They'd like to record it. Would that be all right? Well, I fasted and prayed for 2 or 3 seconds. No, I'm kidding. Of course I said yes. I mean, I was honored that somebody, a bona fide Southern gospel group, wanted to record something I'd written. And they did, and ended up releasing it as a single to radio, and radio started playing it. And this was all new to me. I mean, I'm just kind of following along on the charts and things. And Then this little song that I had written in 30 minutes in the middle of the night a few months later became that group's first ever #1 song. And then it was named Song of the Year. And then it made the list of the top 35 Southern gospel songs of all time. And I still didn't have a clue. I mean, they sent me that top 35 list, and on that list was songs like He Touched Me and Beulah Land and The Lighthouse and these classic gospel songs I'd sung my whole life. And as proud as I was of this little song I'd written, it just didn't affect me that way, and I couldn't understand what all the fuss was about. But it became real clear to me the night I went to the award show and got my little trophy for Song of the Year, and I'm fixing to leave. I'm heading to the parking lot when this little lady stops me. And she takes me by the sleeves and she can get up kind of close to me. And she says, I want you to know your song got me through chemo. Well, I didn't know what to say. I just hugged her and cried. That's all I knew to do. But that was really the moment that the Lord kind of opened up the floodgates. And I started getting phone calls and emails and having conversations with people whose, in some cases, lives had been dramatically affected by this little song. There was a lady who told me that she had been praying for her lost husband for 40 years. And he didn't want any part of it. So one day he was running his TV remote and he came across this song on television. And she said, he called me in and said, have you heard this song? And they started talking about it. And she said, that was the moment his life started to change. And he ended up spending the next 2 years of his life, the last 2 years of his life, sitting with her and serving in that same little church where she prayed for him all those years. And she's convinced that she will see him again because of what started with this little song. Well, folks, that's when the big picture became clear to me, and when what I has understood has become my testimony as I traveled. And the story behind all of that, the significance does not rest in the song we're about to sing. This song came down on me in 30 minutes in the middle of the night. The guys that recorded it are great guys and they're talented, but they'll be the first to tell you that it's not about them. The significance is that we serve this incredible, loving, amazing, forgiving God. And He still ministers to His people through His people. We are still the chosen instrument that He uses to reach a lost and dying world for Jesus. And He has designed us and placed within us, in me and in you, all kinds of gifts and talents and abilities and passions and a personality that is unique to you. There's never been another one just like you before. There never will be again. You are a God original. That's right. And He knows where you live and who you work with and who you hang out with and who your friends are. And there are people that are hurting. There are people that are lost. They won't come here. They won't come listen to music. They won't come here preaching. But they like you. And they trust you. And they'll confide in you. And He has placed within you the ability to reach out to them and change their eternity. That's the Great Commission. That's what changed my life. We'll sing you the song. If you listen to Southern Gospel Radio or television, follow the Gaithers or whatever, you might have heard this. I'll apologize because it's not going to sound like what you've heard in the past, what you're about to hear. But how the Booth brothers ever heard this little old bluegrass demo and said, man, that sounds like a Southern Gospel song to me, I don't know. But this is pretty close to what it sounded like the very first time they heard it.
I was working in town one afternoon, attending some business affairs. I heard a commotion a couple streets over and wondered what's happening there. A young man was running from in that direction. He stopped just to catch his breath. I asked him to please tell me what was the hurry. He smiled up at me and he said, I was trying to catch the crippled man. Did he run past this way? He was rushing home to tell everyone what Jesus did today. And the mute man was telling myself and the deaf girl he's leaving to answer God's call. It's hard to believe, but if you don't trust me, ask the blind man, he saw it all. Ask the blind man, he saw it all. And if the troubles and burdens you carry are heavy and dragging you down, and you have tried everything you can possibly think of, and there's no relief to be found, that very same Jesus that altered the future of a blind man, the deaf, and the lame, He is still reaching out in your hour of trouble. One touch and you're never the same. You'll be
Trying to catch the crippled man, did he run past his way?
He was rushing home to tell everyone what
Jesus did today.
had
The mute man was telling myself, and the deaf girl is leaving to answer God's call.
It's hard to believe, but if
You don't trust me, ask the blind man, he saw it all. Ask the blind man, he saw it all.